Welcome to the Sebring Masters. The green flag drops and 22 minutes of absolute agony begins. Muzzer leads them away, but the ARC Camaros are thundering down into turn one.
Exactly, Martin. This short course is notoriously brutal, with older drivers running stiff setups. Every single expansion joint across this concrete surface will absolutely hammer their internal organs relentlessly today.
Before we even started, the paddock was just a sea of men nervously eyeing the urinals. You can imagine the pure terror of combining weak bladders with aggressive dampers on these incredibly ancient and incredibly bumpy concrete slabs. Martin Bailey instantly strikes, sliding cleanly past Alpha Quadze for fifth. We immediately have yellow flags waving in Sector 1. Somebody has clearly found the absolute limit of grip, already bringing an early halt to this frantic opening sprint lap here.
Listen to these radio channels, Martin. The entire grid is already complaining about the devastating bumps down at turn 17, claiming their teeth and organs are taking a massive beating.
It is pure psychological warfare. MTG and Tomo are screaming on the radio, intentionally choosing the roughest possible racing lines through the corners just to physically shake up each other even further.
Look at MTG tucked tightly into Tomo's wheel tracks. When you follow that closely, you lose all forward visibility. He cannot see those vicious concrete joints coming, meaning every single impact is a sudden, horrible physical shock inside.
We hear Tomo yelling on the radio, he's trying to rupture my spleen, he is squirming desperately to avoid the craters. MTG wants that second place, but Tomo is using Muzzer's slipstream ahead just to keep himself dragging along these punishing straights while defending his position.
Tomo actually possesses the raw pace to challenge Muzzer for the lead, but MTG is glued behind him, maliciously pushing him out over those horrible expansion joints. This is now a literal battle of attrition and fluid dynamics inside that violently shaking race car.
Tomo is visibly shifting, desperately probing Muzzer for clean air.
He lunges to the inside trying to snatch the lead away, but Muzzer violently shuts the door. That was aggressive defense, forcing his teammate right back over the absolute worst section of the curves. You can see the car bouncing erratically, and that undoubtedly sends another painful shockwave through Tomo's bruised system.
Further back, Martin Bailey is absolutely stalking Rafin through these technical sweeps, looking for sudden physical weakness ahead.
But Bailey cannot afford to purely focus forward. Daniel Bourne has completely filled his mirrors. Bourne looks incredibly composed back there, totally unbothered by the harsh track surface, punishing everyone.
Bailey is throwing caution to the wind. He closes dramatically on Rafin in the heavy braking zones. You can see him intensely focusing right before turn 17, deliberately ignoring the immense physical toll as extreme longitudinal forces violently compress his already strained torso downward against the extremely tight safety harness belts inside.
Meanwhile, Tomo is riding Muzzer's rear bumper, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. However, MTG is looming massively in Tomo's mirrors, hoping this intense pressure forces a sudden, painful mistake.
Tomo darts to the inside again, but Muzzer robustly defends the racing line. They are pushing these heavy ARC Camaros to the ragged edge.
Notice how Muzzer places his car right on the crown of the track. It forces Tomo onto the dirtier, much bumpier inside line. Every single block by Muzzer is a deliberate attempt to physically exhaust his frustrated teammate.
Tomo finally outbrakes Muzzer, aggressively forcing his way into first.
With Tomo now pacing the field ahead of Muzzer and MTG, the real drama drops back down to fifth. Look at this incredible scrap. Martin Bailey is absolutely refusing to yield, running spectacularly side by side with Rafin through the narrow final two corners.
Bailey is visibly uncomfortable on camera, desperately shifting his weight while fighting side by side against Rafin now.
He makes it stick. Bailey clears Rafin for fourth place, but notice how late he had to brake to accomplish that move. He is taking massive risks, violently throwing the car around while his body is clearly screaming for relief. That aggressive driving style accelerates tyre wear, and importantly, it severely agitates the human bladder even further.
The pressure never stops with Bailey gone. Daniel Bourne now stalks Rafin, sitting perfectly motionless inside while trying to force a costly error ahead. Disaster strikes. Bailey gets completely sideways and collects Rafin. Both cars scatter wildly onto the grass, allowing Daniel Bourne to glide smoothly past into fourth, while Rafin sluggishly recovers momentum.
We hear Bailey screaming on the radio, "I clenched over the bump." That sudden muscle contraction caused him to completely lose throttle control. Meanwhile, Bourne breezed straight past, looking beautifully serene today.
Incredible scenes. Bailey runs wildly onto the rough grass once again while desperately trying to recover, allowing Rafin to steal fifth place right back. The immense discomfort inside that cockpit is now visibly destroying Martin's concentration and ruining his race lines.
Let us look back towards the front. MTG is rapidly reeled in Muzzer for second position. He is absolutely filling his mirrors now, heavily applying pressure into the braking sectors.
MTG definitely smells blood in the water, or perhaps just desperate relief. He is completely swarming Muzzer right now, aggressively diving over the absolute bumpiest sections of the circuit, hoping to physically bounce his ailing rival straight into an emergency comfort pit stop. The psychological torment here is genuinely astounding to witness.
Running side by side, MTG ruthlessly weaponizes the bumpy track.
He makes the pass. MTG aggressively bullies his way past Muzzer to steal second place. The relentless physical pressure finally shattered Muzzer's absolute resolve through that punishing corner sequence today.
It actually worked perfectly. Having secured second, MTG immediately clicks the radio and begs his engineer to ready the garage bathroom stall. He knows the pit window opens very shortly.
The RCV team garage is descending into total chaotic crisis. Both Tomo and Muzzer are screaming over the frequencies, desperately begging for a comfort break. Managing this double-stack bathroom strategy will be a nightmare.
While the RCV garage panics, Bailey has incredibly managed to calm himself down after that grassy excursion. He is now right back in the slipstream, absolutely filling Rafin's mirrors once again, clearly looking to reclaim fifth position today.
They go side by side and Bailey successfully sneaks past Rafin for fifth place. He reclaims the position right as the entire RCV squad begins organising their highly synchronised, absolutely desperate bathroom pit window ahead of them now.
The pace at the front is blistering despite the physical agony. Muzzer applies massive pressure onto MTG, trying to force an error. Meanwhile, MTG absolutely refuses to let the leader Tomo escape his grasp, creating a tense high-speed train of incredibly uncomfortable drivers now.
MTG inherits the overall race lead because Tomo finally pits.
Muzzer immediately follows him in as Tomo violently stops inside.
Tomo accelerates away with huge relief as Muzzer abruptly parks.
Muzzer quickly peels out, returning to track while Rafin pits.
MTG now leads Bourne and Bailey as a struggling Rafin finally stops inside his RCV pit box today. Yellow flags fly, allowing Alpha Quadza to slip past Tomo now.
The track is entirely clear again and racing resumes at full speed. That yellow flag probably provided a crucial momentary breather for these exhausted drivers, allowing them to briefly relax their aching muscles before plunging straight back into this brutal, punishing concrete marathon today.
Rafin roars out of the pit lane, visibly rejuvenated after that essential stop. The mechanics executed that bathroom service flawlessly, getting him unbuckled and back into the harness with absolute precision. He merges back onto the racing line, completely ready to attack the remaining chaotic laps.
Having finally pitted, Tomo feels like a brand new man out there. He has aggressively chased down Alpha Quadza and is hovering intensely right inside his slipstream through sweeping fast curves.
Up front, Daniel Bourne is genuinely defying modern medical science. Neither he nor MTG have pitted yet. Are they dangerously dehydrated or do they possess superhuman endurance? The sheer willpower required to stay out is absolutely unbelievable today.
Remember, Alpha bragged loudly on the grid about his massive heavy hydration protocol. Tomo is viciously exploiting that arrogance right now, relentlessly probing for a gap while deliberately pushing Alpha over the absolute harshest, most punishing curbs this historic Sebring circuit has to offer him today.
It is deliciously evil driving. Tomo lingers right there in the blind spot, deliberately flashing his headlights just to induce maximum psychological pressure onto Alpha's desperately aching bladder. He wants to utterly break his concentration before attempting any genuine overtaking maneuver down these straights.
We actually hear Alpha furiously shouting at his race engineer on the radio. Tell him to stop flashing. This is no longer merely a motor race, Martin. Tomo is waging an incredibly calculated, utterly brutal campaign of psychological and physiological warfare from directly behind that bumper.
Tomo stalks his prey, knowing Alpha's physical distraction invites disaster.
Look at them battling side by side. The onboard telemetry reveals Alpha is modulating the pedals erratically because he is literally trying to cross his legs inside the footwell. The immense pressure is destroying any smooth throttle application.
Absolutely ruthless from Tomo, actively squeezing Alpha onto bumpy concrete. It finally happens. Alpha runs extremely wide off the racing surface, abandoning defence entirely as Tomo sweeps past to aggressively seize fourth position. The physical strain was too great today.
Alpha's concentration has completely shattered under that assault. You can see his helmet violently bobbing as he awkwardly adjusts his seating position on the straights. He is loudly cursing his own electrolyte loading strategy on radio, desperately trying to survive until his inevitable comfort pit stop.
Further back, Clinton Norchie mercifully steers his Camaro into pits.
Norchie brings the car to a sudden halt right on his designated marks now. The race against nature truly begins as the crew desperately prepares this frantic service operation today.
He has been stationary in that box for absolute ages. The mechanics are just standing around incredibly awkwardly while Norchie furiously wrestles with his complicated racing suit zipper. This is a total nightmare scenario, bleeding massive chunks of time while completely trapped inside the hot vehicle.
Finally, the engine fires back up and Norchie accelerates heavily out of the pit lane. That agonising delay just ruined his overall track position, but judging by his suddenly relaxed posture inside the cockpit camera, he probably considers that massive time loss an entirely worthwhile trade-off for finally achieving some glorious physical relief this brutal Sebring afternoon.
MTG currently leads a wildly shuffled order. Daniel Bourne mysteriously continues forward in second place, with Martin Bailey sitting third ahead of an incredibly resurgent Tomo running in fourth position.
I am totally astounded by Daniel Bourne right now. He still has not pitted. He is not shifting his weight or squirming at all. The man is an absolute statue.
Incredible focus. The craziest paddock rumours genuinely suggested Bourne spent his entire off-season performing incredibly intense pelvic floor exercises instead of simulator sessions. If that bizarre strategy is actually true, it is immensely paying off with this astonishing stint today.
Tomo feels completely revitalised, aggressively attacking corners and refusing to let Bailey escape.
What a sensational move. A completely relieved Tomo dives brilliantly past Bailey to boldly claim third place. Physical comfort translates directly into pure lap time here, and Tomo is maximising every single ounce of his renewed focus today. Trouble further down. Clinton Norchie appears completely stopped out on the circuit. He sluggishly crawls forward again. These massive brutal concrete curbs are claiming more victims every single lap today.
He is finally back underway, but Norchie sounds completely and utterly exhausted on the team radio channel. Honestly, considering that disastrous, complicated zipper situation during his pit service earlier, we really probably should not ask exactly what just transpired inside that hot racing car.
Back towards the sharp end, an absolutely rejuvenated Mazda has completely closed down the gap and is currently waging a fierce, intense battle against Alfa Quadza for fifth position overall today.
Mazda is enjoying that fresh, wonderful relief after his successful stop, and he is relentlessly hounding Alfa everywhere. Alfa is stubbornly refusing to pit despite earlier complaints. You can clearly see him severely compromising corner exits, prioritising physical comforts over actual traction out of slower bends.
Alfa weaves desperately to distract his mind while Mazda patiently awaits disaster ahead.
Finally, the race leader MTG surrenders to nature and pits.
It is an incredibly fast, highly efficient pit box visit for MTG, who swiftly screams straight back out onto the track.
Through every single sector, Mazda keeps mounting absolutely relentless pressure onto Alfa's rear bumper, slowly forcing mistakes ahead.
Yellow flags are waving furiously. Somebody has clearly pushed far beyond the absolute breaking point today.
Up ahead, Bailey has aggressively turned up the heat on a recently pitted MTG. He is attacking the braking zones with absolute ferocity and zero regard for physical comfort now.
Bailey is viciously attacking MTG, clearly regretting his arrogant earlier decision to skip the crucial bathroom break. That hubris is now translating into wildly erratic, utterly desperate lunges inside today.
We hear Bailey absolutely screaming with pure rage on the radio about nature calling, yet he stubbornly refuses to yield track position. You can observe him stiffening his arms against the wheel, desperately bracing his suffering torso during every heavy braking deceleration phase here.
Bailey rides tightly in the wheel tracks of MTG. He is deliberately braking absurdly late, utilising immense violent forward forces of these huge Camaros to forcefully distract his mind from the catastrophic physiological emergency rapidly escalating downstairs. This is truly madness on four wheels.
Bailey violently throws his heavy car up the inside, searching for third. However, MTG beautifully reads the desperate lunge, firmly shutting the door and flawlessly protecting his podium position today.
Daniel Bourne is an absolute enigma. He is still circulating flawlessly near the front without uttering a single radio complaint. The entire paddock is completely baffled. Does this remarkable man even possess a human bladder or know a tactical secret today?
Bourne incredibly leads this entire chaotic race. Tomo holds strongly on to second, while MTG desperately defends third from an agonisingly frantic Bailey ahead of Muzza, Alpha, Rayfin and Norchi today.
Bourne calmly dictates the pace. Meanwhile, we just heard Alpha violently screaming at his engineer that his internal drink bottle has supposedly leaked all over his racing suit. Let us be absolutely brutally honest here, Anthony. We all know perfectly well that sudden warm puddle did not emerge from a hydration system.
The tension is incredible everywhere. Muzza realises Bailey is visibly suffering and absolutely refuses to let him escape. Muzza is applying heavy pressure from fifth position, constantly placing his car aggressively in Bailey's mirrors to mentally shatter him before making a definitive, ruthless overtaking manoeuvre today.
Muzza aggressively dives into the corner. He desperately hopes a startled Bailey will just surrender the fight immediately and steer straight towards the pit lane toilets, but Bailey forcefully defends.
We hear Bailey screaming, "I'll hold it till I explode." It is absolute physiological madness unfolding across the timing screens right now. Bailey is prioritising sheer stubborn pride and track position over basic human bodily functions here today.
This massive battle pack is completely unhinged. Bailey is still furiously attacking MTG for third place, all while incredibly managing to fend off a relentlessly pressuring Muzza from behind. The mental and physical processing power required to balance this intense warfare is utterly beyond mortal comprehension.
Running tightly, nose to tail, Muzza patiently waits for any slight bobble. When a driver is fighting that level of horrific internal discomfort, their reaction times inevitably begin deteriorating rapidly.
Muzza violently forces the nose inside, demanding that track space, but Bailey throws the car aggressively across the apex to block him. They are dancing right on the absolute razor edge of disaster, violently throwing these heavy machines around while desperately fighting frantic biology inside today.
They actually touch heavy contact as they trade paint aggressively through the fast sweeper. Neither man is willing to back out, resulting in a tremendously physical bruising scrap for fourth.
Oh, look at this. A completely broken Alpha Quadza has finally surrendered to nature, peeling off the racing line and rolling dejectedly into pits now.
Meanwhile, this brutal confrontation between Muzza and Bailey simply refuses to end. They are still running absolutely side by side, violently bouncing over the harshest, most punishing curbs available today.
Alpha finally cracked, absolutely ruining his track position just to painfully squeeze out a necessary number one. Back on track, Bailey and Muzza are violently trading paint again, determined to establish sheer dominance regardless of any overwhelming physical pain right now.
We have more yellow flags waving vigorously, and unfortunately it involves Clinton Norchi once again. He is significantly off the usual racing line and looks completely stopped out there on the unforgiving concrete surface. The physical exhaustion inside these hot, vibrating vehicles is simply causing fundamental driving errors across the entire grid.
Thankfully, Norchi manages to quickly restart the heavy engine and gets moving again, sluggishly dragging his badly battered race car back to competitive speeds.
Meanwhile, Muzza refuses to yield any breathing room whatsoever, remaining completely glued underneath Bailey's rear bumper.
Muzza brilliantly makes his move. He boldly claims fourth position as an absolutely agonising distraction finally sends an incredibly frustrated Bailey skidding wildly off. Astonishing developments here. Anthony Alpha Quadza is incredibly diving straight back down the pit lane for another emergency stop.
Alpha hits his marks, the crew scrambles in disbelief, and he rapidly accelerates away again. That disastrous hydration choice has mathematically eliminated his hopes.
Daniel Bourne continues completely unbothered out in front. Tomo runs incredibly strongly in second, trailing him. MTG maintains third. Muzzer occupies fourth, while a desperate Bailey fiercely holds fifth. The unfortunate Alpha is sixth, with Rafin violently hunting him down, leaving a very tired Norchi to round out the struggling running order.
Look at Rafin smelling absolute blood here. He has rapidly closed in on the extremely delayed Alpha Quadza and is heavily applying relentless pressure across these terribly aggressive concrete expansion joints.
Two entirely separate pit stops for Alpha just to relieve himself. That arrogantly loud boast about his supreme heavy hydration load has completely and utterly destroyed his entire racing afternoon.
You could actually hear his engineer audibly sighing with pure disappointment over the team radio. In stark contrast, Daniel Bourne is flawlessly cruising toward a simply stunning overall victory, apparently managing this entire violent distance without requiring a single agonizing comfort stop today whatsoever.
Wait, unbelievable news. While Rafin ruthlessly probes Alpha for sixth, a completely shocking leaked photograph from the garage reveals Daniel Bourne's true secret. He is actively wearing highly absorbent adult diapers underneath his racing overalls he never needed to stop. That is an absolutely brilliant, undeniably hysterical strategic masterclass of pure survival against the relentless call of nature on this incredibly bumpy Sebring circuit here this very special afternoon. Out of the final corner, perfectly dry and incredibly comfortable, Daniel Bourne crosses the line to win the Sebring Masters. He completely outsmarted the entire field by simply eliminating the biological pit window entirely. An unbelievable feat of sheer ingenuity, securing a hilarious but highly tactical victory in these punishing arc Camaros here on this very bumpy concrete surface today.
Tomo crosses the finish line second overall.
MTG third.
Muzzer solidly claims fourth position just behind him. Rafin is aggressively using the slipstream to completely swarm a truly defeated Alpha Quadza in these incredibly desperate final few meters to the finish line.
A deeply relieved Martin Bailey successfully drags his heavy car home for fifth place. Alpha Quadza somehow desperately manages to secure sixth, just slightly ahead of Rafin, concluding an absolutely disastrous strategy that will surely haunt his incredibly chaotic garage for many long weeks to come today.
Finally, an utterly exhausted Clinton Norchi mercifully finishes 8th overall.
What a legendary race of pure physiological endurance. The Sebring Masters certainly delivered absolute comedy today. Good night from the box. We need the bathroom.